Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're hovering into the rugged skies of heavy-lift unmanned aviation with China's Boeing T1400, the groundbreaking tandem-rotor uncrewed helicopter that's just notched its maiden flight. Engineered as a 1,400-kilogram powerhouse to tackle remote cargo hauls, humanitarian drops, and agricultural ops in unforgiving terrains where traditional helos fear to tread, all while delivering up to 8 hours of endurance and a practical ceiling of 6,500 meters to supercharge logistics in the vast expanses of the Belt and Road or disaster-struck hinterlands. If you're a drone tech aficionado, a logistics strategist, or simply mesmerized by the fusion of tandem rotor stability, AI-driven autonomy, and modular payloads that turns a pilotless beast into a self-sustaining workhorse capable of slinging external loads over mountain passes or urban rubble without a human at the controls, you're in for a detailed and rotor-spinning deep dive. The Boeing T1400, developed by Harbin United Aircraft Technology under the United Aircraft Group banner, isn't just another quadcopter on steroids. It's a sleek, tandem-configured unmanned rotorcraft with front and aft counter-rotating blades for superior lift and stability, an internal cargo bay for secure hauls, and external sling hooks for oversized drops, enabling it to ferry up to 500 kilograms across 300 kilometers or more, while its obstacle avoidance sensors and weather-hardened airframe shrug off winds up to 20 meters per second. From its conceptual genesis in early 2024 amid China's push for autonomous heavy lift to yesterday's triumphant first flight on October 30th, 2025 at the Harbin factory grounds, this helicopter has leveraged over 6 months of ground tests and wind tunnel validations to integrate gallium nitride avionics for jamming resistance and carbon fiber spars for a 20% weight reduction, making it a versatile asset for scenarios from seismic relief in Sichuan to crop dusting in the Gobi. We'll unpack its jaw-dropping capabilities in meticulous detail, furnish a rigorous technical blueprint drawn from the freshest flight disclosures, dissect its transformative role in China's unmanned logistics empire and global exports, weave in some mind-bending fun facts to amp up the intrigue, and close with the bleeding-edge updates as of November 1st, 2025, including post-flight analysis and teasers of production scaling. So, spin up those rotors, sync the flight computer, and let's lift off heavy for everything you need to know about China's Boeing T1400 uncrewed tandem helicopter. The Boeing T1400's capabilities elevate it to the pinnacle of heavy-lift unmanned rotorcraft, designed as a multi-mission autonomy platform to conquer logistical voids with a lethal blend of endurance, stability, and payload flexibility, allowing it to penetrate remote or hazardous zones like earthquake-ravaged plateaus or typhoon-lashed islands, maintain 360-degree environmental awareness through fused sensors, and execute precision deliveries against dynamic demands like supply drops to flood zones or precision seeding in arid fields with a circular error probable under 5 meters, rivaling manned Mi-17 heavies while slashing operational risks and costs for theaters spanning the Himalayas to the South China Sea. At its core, this helicopter excels in sustained heavy-lift ops, powered by twin-electric or hybrid propulsion pods driving the tandem rotors, each spanning 8 meters in diameter, for a maximum takeoff weight of 1,400 kilograms, enabling cruise speeds up to 120 kilometers per hour, and a practical ceiling of 6,500 meters, outpacing lighter drones like the DJI Flycart in volume by tenfold with up to 8 hours of loiter time on swappable lithium-sulfur batteries, allowing non-stop hauls from coastal hubs to inland outposts without mid-air refuels. Its tandem rotor configuration, front and rear blades counter-rotating to cancel torque, delivers exceptional stability for hovering payloads up to 500 kilograms externally via electromagnetic slings or internally in a 2 cubic meter bay, with the flight control system fusing inertial navigation and GPS with LiDAR for terrain following at 10 meters altitude that hugs valleys to evade weather or radar, while the active electronically scanned obstacle radar with gallium nitride arrays scans up to 2 kilometers for birds or wires, fused with an infrared thermal suite for passive detection that locks onto drop zones without emissions. For specialized missions, the T1400 can reconfigure with modular pods for up to 400 liters of liquid payload in ag spraying mode or sensor arrays for SAR mapping, with a ferry range exceeding 300 kilometers on full charge, extendable to 500 with solar-augmented panels, empowering launches from urban depots to threaten supply shortages in the Tibetan Plateau or Mekong Delta. Its electronic warfare suite, with digital radio frequency memory jammers, can spoof drone hunters or disrupt interference during ingress, and the autonomy kernel, overlaid on a wide-area virtual display for ground operators, projects augmented reality flight paths from the distributed sensor net of 12 cameras and ultrasonics, providing spherical vigilance for off-nominal recoveries like auto-rotations in zero vires, enabling a single remote pilot to manage complex taskings like simultaneous sling load swings and precision hovers. The system's relaxed stability cyclic controls and inter-rotor phasing allow maneuvers up to 2 G-forces for gust evasion without load shifts. This holistic utility makes the T1400 a true logistics liberator, capable of leading resupply convoys to bridge disaster gaps, escorting swarms of smaller UAVs for distributed drops, or conducting standalone surveys with hyperspectral imagers, resolving crop health at centimeter scales through haze, anchoring its primacy in China's unmanned aerial evolution through the 2040s. To fully comprehend the T1400's engineering wizardry, let's zoom into its technical specs and operational rhythms as United Aircraft's blueprint masterfully merges rotor dynamics with AI integration, birthing a helicopter that's as steadfast as it is silent, stretching 12 meters in length with a rotor diameter of 8 meters front to rear and a height of 3 meters for a service weight of 800 kilograms empty, driven by dual 60-kilowatt electric motors, each generating torque for 120 km/h dashes and 8-hour hovers at sea level. The fuselage's hybrid aluminum-carbon weave with radar-absorbent coatings reduces signature by 30% over manned counterparts, while achieving a lift-to-drag quotient of 12:1, courtesy of chevron-bladed rotors, diverterless hub mounts, and raked tail booms scattering downwash, and the adaptive rotor hubs, pitching 0 to 15 degrees, boost low-speed authority for sling ops, mated to a skid gear for rough field landings up to 50 centimeters. Avionics highlight the KLV-9 autonomy suite with 1,000 silicon carbide modules for dual navigation and payload modes, synced to a distributed sensor web of 12 thermal cams for omnidirectional hazard tracking up to 2 kilometers, and the ground control station's curved OLED panorama with voice gestural inputs and AR monocle for off-axis cueing, where the operator sights anomalies by glancing at feeds. Cargo bays pack up to 500 kilograms in internal racks with 300-kilometer envelopes or external slings for heavy drops, with side mounts adding up to 2 more for 6 total, including spray booms for ag or medevac litters for humanitarian, and the countermeasures pod with waveform synthesizers and deployable flares foils threats like net guns. In action, the T1400 pulses with poise. The operator powers up from a forward base, surges at 50 kilowatts per rotor to a transit altitude. The array locks waypoints at 300 kilometers ahead. The autonomy cues a payload release for a remote village drop from the belly hook, then dives into a 2G hover while the sensor net feeds omniscient vigilance for tweaks, all in an 8-hour envelope that links Harbin factories to Xinjiang outposts, cementing it as a tactical titan for regional sustainment in mega challenges. The T1400's strategic imprint is seismic in China's aerial logistics renaissance, anchoring the People's Liberation Army's unmanned heavy-lift armada to clinch supply superiority in corridor clashes, especially along the Tibetan frontier or island chains, where its endurance and autonomy let it ambush legacy gaps from afar, meshing with wayside beacons and orbital relays for chained handoffs that flip capacity shortfalls. As Beijing targets 500 T1400s by 2035, it fortifies the anti-disaster/area flow doctrine, flanking Z-10 transports or syncing with Wing-Lung drones for omni-vector surges, while the dual-bay T1400AF variant amplifies reach to fleet orchestration, directing packs of GJ-11 shuttles for dispersed throughput. Fun fact, the T1400's tandem rotors yield a stability radius of 200 meters at full load, edging manned Blackhawks in sims at mid-altitudes. Another zinger, Its batteries reclaim 40% kinetic energy on descents, stretching missions to 12 hours on sparse recharges. As of November 1, 2025, the Boeing T1400 has notched a triumph with its inaugural flight, wrapping up flawlessly on October 30th in Harbin, clocking a 20-minute low-level shakedown at 100 meters altitude and 50 kilometers per hour as United Aircraft fast-tracks certification amid booming demand for remote ops. Merely a day prior, on October 29th, dispatches confirmed the T1400AF sibling prototype nearing dynamic validation, rigged to helm wingman pods like the WZ-9 for platoon logistics, and on October 26th, official outlets touted the T1400's trailblazing tandem fusion as a planetary prime, with expo unveilings slated for the Zhuhai Air Show to rally spirits and signal supremacy. Hurdles like rotor icing in monsoons linger, but with prototypes logging over 100 test hours and alliances eyed for Belt and Road partners like Pakistan, the T1400 is railroading China's throne as a heavy-lift vanguard. The United Aircraft Boeing T1400 is a rotor sentinel of remote resilience, melding lift, longevity and logic to bridge the unbridgeable. What's your take on the T1400? Awed by its 8-hour endurance tears, buzzing for the AF logistics mashup, or pondering its 9th-gen electric kin? Drop your takes in the comments below. Smack that like if it lifted for you, pass it to your drone posse, and if you haven't yet, smash subscribe for more plunges into the ride's reshaping worldly ways. Cheers for riding along, and catch you on the next departure.